this video, I'll give you all the tips you need to know about traveling to Marseille, one of France's most incredible cities on the Côte d'Azur, one of the most incredible places in the world. We'll summarize everything here, how to get there, where to stay, what's the best area, which hotels, what to do, the main tours, food, eating out, everything you can think of to make the most out of this incredible trip, guys. So don't forget to give us a like here, don't forget it because it's really important. Subscribe to the channel because it's really important, and buckle up. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Gabriel Lorenzi, creator of the Grupo Dicas, the largest travel content network in the world. And today we're going to talk about Marseille, one of the most beautiful cities in the world and in France. A very nice place, very quiet, very good food. It's a port city. It's located in the area of a port called Velho Porto. I'll explain to you what the area is like. It's like the old port, but just so you can visualize, it's a city with lots of boats, a beautiful sea, lots of cool and historic things to do there. So guys, without further ado, let's go with all the information about there. The tip I think is most important to start with is when to visit Marseille. Oh, can you go every month? Sometimes people don't realize it and think that you can visit these cities in France and Europe every month. You can, but there are some times when it's not so advisable, so let's get to it. First of all, winter in December, January and February, this region, especially along the blue coast, gets very cold and you can't really enjoy the walks. Boat trips are difficult because it's so cold. Walking on the promenade, on the pier, around the port, and the historic center is more difficult and loses some of the charm of the trip. So in my opinion, if you can avoid the winter months, that's a great start. And the summer, if you take July, August, which is the high of the European summer, all the cities, the main European ones, get crowded, the prices get more expensive, everything gets very busy, there are queues, especially in these coastal destinations. France's blue coast, which is one of the most famous summer destinations in Europe, gets crowded, everything gets fuller and more expensive, so it's best if you can avoid July and August. September is already a great month, the beginning of October is still worthwhile, May and June are also very good. You'll be able to enjoy everything much more and in very pleasant weather, so the season is really important when you are trying to adapt your itinerary to go to Europe or any place in the world. You have to pay attention to that. How to get to Marseille? If you're in Paris, most people start their tour on France in Paris. If you can do it by car, it takes 8 hours, it's a bit far. If you don't stop, it's quite difficult to make the journey, but by train it takes 3 hours. People, the train in Europe, you can use it and abuse it because it's so good. They're fast, they're easy, you arrive 15 minutes early and you're good to go. You don't have to check in like at airports. The prices are good and they are very comfortable. Not to mention the scenery you can see from the window, it's very beautiful. So take a look, but I think the best way to get there is either by train. For those who want to, I'll leave the link here in the description of the video, guys, to the website we always use to buy the train tickets throughout Europe. It's a website that searches all the companies that do the routes. You type in Paris, Marseille, it will give you all the routes, times, prices, everything you need, and you can buy it there. So that's the first option. Then there's the option of flying. International flights throughout Europe, especially in France, are not expensive. Sometimes it's the same price as a train ticket and it takes around an hour and 10 to get from Paris to Marseille airport. Marseille is a large city, the second largest in Europe, so it's very famous. It's a city with a lot of structure, so there are plenty of options for transportation, both by train and by plane, so you just have to check the best option for you. And if you're arriving by train, you're already a little closer to the tourist center. For those arriving by plane, the airport is a little further away, about 30 minutes from the center, so you have to take transportation to get there. There are public buses and trains, which you pay little for. It will be cheaper, you manage, but I think getting there in the new city with your luggage, suitcases, the language is different. What I really like to do is take a transfer. Cabs are always the worst option because they can either rip you off, which has happened to us a lot, unfortunately, and Uber Uber. You can take an Uber, which is better than a cab, but there is a very nice option that it's the best of all in my opinion, which is the transfer. You can get a transfer that's cheap and super reliable. For example, there's this website that I'll give you below in the video description. It's the website we use to buy all of our tickets, tours, excursions, everything in Europe. They're the leaders, they're huge, there's everything there. And there are these transfers from any port to the tourist center. You go there, click on transfer, you've already entered that you're arriving from the airport and I want to go to the tourist center of Marseille. So many people, you get there, a private car, get off at the airport, and there will already be a person with a license plate waiting for you who will put your bags in the car, help you with your bags, and straight up to your hotel so you don't have problems. And speaking of tickets, Marseille is a place where you won't spend much on any attractions. For example, I've just made the Paris video. In Paris, you need to buy a ticket for everything. Eiffel Tower, Louvre Museum, various attractions, the boat trip on the river Seine. I've even listed the website below, which sells all the tours, tickets, and transfers. It's a very good for buying for other destinations, but in Marseille, most things are free, which I thought was very nice. Perhaps you could take a boat trip, which is very nice on the river, or some other nice tour you see, but the attractions are almost all free, so you won't have to spend much on tickets, and that's a positive point about the city and one thing that I like. Now, where to stay in Marseille? It's a big city, so you have to be careful and locate yourself well. If you don't, you waste a lot of time getting from one place to another, moving around, and money because you'll be spending it on transportation. In my opinion, and in the opinion of most of the people who go there and all tourists, the region is Porto Velho. Porto Velho is where the main attractions are, the city's most iconic port, which has become a French heritage site. It's a very nice place. I'll put the map up for you to see. You see that around Porto, this whole region is fantastic. It's a noble area, it's very beautiful, it's busy, there are lots of great restaurants to visit. The look, you leave the hotel and you'll be walking through these beautiful streets of Porto Velho. So it's the main region, and in my opinion, I recommend that you stay within this area. To make it easier, we made a customized map, which is the one you're looking at right now. It's gonna pop up on the screen anytime now on a website that's the world's largest hotel search engine, which I'm sure you're also familiar with. It's where we always use to make our reservations, and why I'm going to explain here a strategy we use to get much better prices every time, saving a lot. But by clicking on the link I'm going to leave below, you open this customized map of Marseille with all the filters we use in the search, and then you close it, put the date of your trip, click on search, click on open map again, and this same map will open with the hotels already on the date of your trip and with the right prices for you to check. I'm also going to tell you about the hotel we stayed in, guys. It's an incredible hotel, modern, beautiful. It's 5 blocks from the port, 4 minutes walk, perfect location, and it's very good. The price was very good for its level. An incredible hotel, super beautiful, modern. The price was excellent, so take a look because we loved it. It was perfect, really, really good. Check out if you want to see. And now for the tip we use, the strategy for always getting cheaper hotels. Anticipation is key. All hotels in the world work like this. As the rooms sell out, the price automatically goes up. It's a tourism system, everyone knows it. So if you go in and see a nice hotel at a good price, book it. You will pay a lot less than if you leave it a month or 2 months from now, so do it now. Why? Because this website has a free cancellation deal with almost all the hotels. So you've entered, you've booked, a little time has passed, and you want to cancel, change the hotel or rooms, or just cancel the trip at all. It's one click without any bureaucracy. You spend nothing. So this is a great tactic that we use, and it saves us a lot of money because the earlier you book, the cheaper you pay. Check it out here and try to find some nice hotels. If you want to know the hotel we stayed in and loved, I'll leave it here too. It's a very beautiful, incredible hotel. It's a 5-star hotel, but it's not as expensive as other places, so you can stay in a 5-star hotel for a good price. We got a very good deal on it. I don't know if it was the season. Check it out. It's close to everything, and it's an iconic hotel. Try to see how much it is on your date. If it's too expensive, you can use the map to see other places, but this one is good. And I'll go into it later. I'll give you some important tips first. I'll go into what to do in Marseille later, what are the best things to do there. But an extra nice tip is to use the old port to walk around and feel like it at your leisure. I mean, if you can have lunch and dinner, lunch one day, dinner the next. Why is that? Because the restaurants are very nice. You have the view, the atmosphere of the French Riviera. It's a delight. And everything there is freshly caught, so the fish you eat will probably have been caught on the same day, so try to enjoy it. For those who like seafood, fish, it's incredible. The prawns are all fresh, you taste the difference, it's delicious, so make the most of it. Prepare your stomach to eat a lot there, and of course drink some good wine, because there's a lot of good wine there and it's not expensive. It's a trip where you eat a lot in the Italian style too, which is one of the things we eat the most when we've traveled there. But France is also following this path, so prepare yourself because you have a lot of good food and you can drink some amazing wine. And now, before I get into the what to do, all the tours, I'll quickly give you 3 very important tips for anywhere in Europe to visit, which is travel insurance. Don't forget that travel insurance is mandatory for Europe. To go to any of these destinations, you must have travel insurance that covers at least 30,000 euros in medical assistance. Then do one, it's cheap. There are places that are very cheap and safe. I'll leave it down here in the description too. Here in the description, I'll leave a link to a page where we're organizing all the links and keeping them up to date. Many links already have discounts included, so use the page, save, click, and you'll be able to organize everything. And we've managed to organize everything so that you can plan your trip there. And there's this travel insurance comparator. It's an incredible tool that compares insurance from all the main insurance on the market and finds incredible prices. The prices are even half what they are if you go directly to a travel agency and ask someone for a quote. It's the same insurance, they're fantastic companies. Check it out, it's very good, it saves you a lot. And in the same vein, the SIM card to travel abroad, you need a SIM card to use your cell phone during your trip. We highly recommend international prepaid chips, which are the cheapest, easiest, and most practical way to use your cell phone there. I'll leave down here what we use for the whole of Europe, for the whole world. The truth is, the signal is excellent, they deliver it to you. New cell phones now have a virtual chip, the eSIM. You buy it on their website and they send you a QR code by email, you register it on your cell phone, and that's it. You already have a prepaid SIM card installed, so you can get there and use the internet at will. So it's very good for locating yourself and doing everything there. You can also, the currency exchange tip that I forgot, this is an important tip that people are forgetting, don't know yet, and are losing a lot of money on the currency. If you're going to Europe, you practically have to use the euro. If it's England, it's the pound, but everywhere else in Europe, you use the euro. The traditional way we always use it is to go to an exchange house in the country where we live, buy the euros, and that's it. Take the euros in cash, take the prepaid card, which is your carry. But now there's a much more cheaper way to get your money there, which are global digital accounts, guys. With these accounts that you can open in 5 minutes from your cell phone, you don't have to pay anything to open them, you don't have to pay anything to maintain them, 0 fees, you won't spend anything on it. You open a dollar account here in the United States with a very good bank, and then you'll be able to use that account to carry dollars. But what's the advantage? You'll be carrying the dollars using the commercial exchange rates, the commercial dollar. What you would use in exchange houses, on credit and debit cards, you would use the tourist exchange rate, which is much more expensive. So you load it with the commercial one, which is much cheaper, and when you use the card anywhere in the world, you will pay 1.1% tax. If you use your credit card, you usually pay at least 7%, and overall it's a huge savings. There's no reason not to do it. It's practical, it's easy, you dollarize your assets, you can invest. There's a VIP lounge they've come up with, lots of new features, so it's a very good thing for those who travel the world, and then you can use it anywhere in the world. It's in dollars, but you can use it anywhere. It converts automatically, and it's much cheaper than changing euros, guys. I'll leave it here along with the other links. Everything is there, the application for download, the account, the discounts. And now let's talk about what to do in Marseille. There are plenty of great things to do, so book at least 2 or 3 days. I think 3 is ideal in one piece, so you can enjoy a few days and get to know Marseille. I've already mentioned it's the old port, which is the main tourist attraction, so set aside a few hours to wander around and explore the port. port, which is really beautiful. Have some coffee there at dusk, watch the sunset, and take a sailboat ride there, which is beautiful. The website I mentioned, it sells them, or you can buy them on the spot. Sometimes it's a bit more expensive, but you can still buy them. So take a walk because it's very cool. You can see the city from this river panorama too. All these famous cities in France usually have a river running through them. In Paris, there's the river Seine, and these boat trips are always great to take. One place that I think is very nice to start with is Longchamp's Palace. This palace is one of the most beautiful buildings I ever seen. It's a very imposing building. The photos of the front of the building look beautiful, but it being so high up, it has a very nice staircase that leads up to the top. And the cool thing is that it's no longer a palace, it's become home to several museums. Then inside the palace, they built several museums in the city of Marseille. There are two that I think are the main ones you should visit. The Natural History Museum, it's very nice, especially for those with children. It's a museum that arouses the interest of the children, and the Fine Artist Museum has many important works by renowned artists. So these are two very nice museums to visit there. And while we're on the subject of museums, there's another one that I think you should include in your itinerary, which is the Museum of European and Mediterranean Civilizations. It's very cool. It was designed by Rudy Ricciotti, I don't know how to pronounce his name, who's a very famous guy there too, and its entrance is in the old port, so it's very close to this historic part of the city, and its architecture is beautiful. There are several works on display, and the outside, especially at night, has very beautiful lighting. It's a museum that I think is worth visiting because it has a very different, very modern feel, and at the same time, there are lots of nice works inside for you to see. And don't miss out on the Notre de la Garde Basilica, one of the most beautiful churches I've ever seen in the world. It stands at the highest point in the city, so as well as being a beautiful place to visit, its interior is beautiful and it's free. You don't need a ticket, just like most things in Marseille. It's very nice. You can climb up to its beautiful dome, and from the top you will have a spectacular view of the city of Marseille. And that's where the iconic golden statue of Mary holding the baby Jesus stands. So it's a very iconic point in the city and one of the most beautiful. And here's a tip: try to see it at night. During the day, it's the best time to visit, to get to know it from the inside, to go up there. But if you can't spend the night not so close, but somewhere close because it's very high up, the lighting they do is the most beautiful thing. Extra tip: take plenty of walks around the old port area of Marseille. You see that both the fort, which is also very famous, and the church of Notre Dame, which are all high up, are beautifully illuminated. It's very brightly lit, sometimes colorfully, which is very eye-catching and becomes another tourist attraction. It's worth seeing both during the day and at night, guys. It's really beautiful, really amazing. It's an amazing place. Another church worth visiting is the Cathedral of La Majeure, which is Saint Marie Majeure. I found it very similar. The Byzantine features I thought was very similar to the cathedral in Florence, Italy. I don't know if it's related. I think it has a similar name there too. I'll look it up later and put them both here for you so we can compare and see if I'm going mad or if it's totally different. But I'm going to put it anyway. The editing staff can put it to see if I'm going mad or it really looks like it. But I found it very similar. Another place you can't miss, especially if you're visiting the French Riviera, is the beaches. There are some very nice beaches in Marseille. I didn't think they were the most beautiful on the Côte d'Azur. I think it has slightly nicer beaches: Palma de Mallorca, Menorca, Ibiza. I thought the waters were nicer, clearer, the sand. But of course, there are spectacular beaches there too, so you don't have to expect that it's going to be a paradise beach. But it's a beautiful beach and well worth a visit. There are several in the Marseille area that you can easily visit. Access is normal, it's by land. You go and take the shuttle there and that's it. You're already on the beach, and there are also the famous Calanques, which are reserves. It's a bit more reserved. These are the beautiful places with crystal clear water, and it's best to go there by boat. There are several boats in the old port that make these trips. There are some excursions and boat trips on the ticket websites. Take a look, or you can go and check them out at the time, which are beautiful. You'll find these wonderful places. The name they give them is Calanques. It's a different name for these regions, these beaches, rivers. I can explain properly, but they are very beautiful places that are really, really worth a visit. So if you want tips on what to do, here they are. You can visit these beaches, the boat rides, everything is very beautiful, and most of them, of course, are free, so you can enjoy. And for those who want to shop, Marseille has shopping. Some smaller cities in France don't, but Marseille is a big city and has a Galerie Lafayette. The Galerie Lafayette, for those who haven't been in Paris yet, it's a very famous department store. It's easier to say it's a shopping mall because it's a gigantic store with more than 6 floors and all the brands you can imagine. And there's one in Marseille too. If you want to shop, take a few hours out of your day to shop. I think the Galerie Lafayette, it's the most complete and easiest place to find everything. There's everything you can imagine from all brands, all types, and all styles. So if you look for the famous places to shop, of course, you're going to find it in the gallery. And another cool place is the Saint Nicolas fort, a fort they use it to protect the city. It's near Notre Dame Cathedral. Take a look because it's a beautiful view from the top. It's beautiful, and the view of the church from there is also beautiful, and seeing the view from the cathedral is very nice. So explore, take your pictures, wander around because the views there are really amazing. It's a place that I totally recommend. And here below, I'll give you the link to all the links I've told you about on one organized page so you can put together an entire trip. The links are already discounted, some have discounts included, so save the page. When you're planning your trip, do your search and see that you compare to other places. The ones we recommend are always the cheapest and the most reliable. We only book things there and it's really worthwhile. And that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel because that really helps us a lot. And don't miss the other videos from France, which are very good. I'm going to give you the main points above, which will help you plan your trip there in the best possible way, and the playlist with all the other videos for you to watch and enjoy. So thank you very much, guys, and have nice trips.